Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the second Just Arsenal video show, or YouTube video, whatever, of the summer. I hope you enjoyed the first one. Did nice numbers, and everyone seemed to enjoy it. So, where we discussed El Neni and Ketia's contract situation. So, welcome to the second one. I'm joined again by Rob Worthington on the right of me. Yeah, Rob, how you doing?
I'm pretty well, thank you, Alfie. You might be able to tell it's quite a gorgeous day here. You can see the sunlight behind me, and yeah, I really enjoyed the first video. And also, make sure to go check out our videos over on the We Love You Arsenal YouTube channel. We've got some good stuff going on there, and also our website, weloveyouarsenal.co.uk. So check all that stuff out if you're an Arsenal fan, or if you're not. It's all
Yeah,
good stuff.
absolutely. Do that. Today we're going to be discussing so two prominent rumours that have been circulating. One that seems much more advanced, I think, is going to happen is Youri Tielemans. The other is Ruben Neves. I think a lot of people group them together. I actually think they're two very different players who conflict a little bit. I think Ruben Neves would be much more of a six, whereas Youri Tielemans would be playing as the coming for Granit Xhaka's role. I think in that left eight potentially as a old Odegaard alternative on the right if we need to get rest Odegaard. There's been a lot of debate about the two of them. Which should we be targeting? Which sort of profile? And I just thought it'd be, fun to have a little chat about that, discuss that. So I'm going to open up. Daniel, the other deputy editor, one of the other deputy editors of the We Love You Arsenal site, he said he seems to have a bit more of a favouring towards Neves. What are your initial thoughts and reaction? What is your reaction to that, Rob?
I'd like to start by just agreeing with you that they're clearly very, very different footballers. I think it's sort of practical to group them in the same sort of conversation, because I actually do think they would be coming in to play the same position, but I'm not sure necessarily the same role. You see the way Granit Xhaka sort of is currently playing the role of the left eight at Arsenal, and I can imagine Ruben Neves playing in that sort of style. However, I think Youri Tielemans would add a bit more to us offensively. And whilst he might not offer the sort of defensive grit and I suppose just I think I would describe Ruben Neves as a bit more of a steady head, bit more of a reliable player, maybe a bit more consistent, just because his job is, I think, again very different players. But I would say that Tielemans would just be my preference, because I don't think Granit Xhaka will be departing this summer. I think there's very little point in having both Neves and Xhaka. I'm not saying those two are the exact same players, but I think they would play the role very similarly. I would like us to bring in a player who can play it very differently. And also, and I'm not taking anything away from Tielemans' sort of rounded profile. I think that, for example, he'd be a lot better than Emil Smith Rowe is when he plays in that role. He's much more of a midfielder than he is an attacker. But just for me, that would be my preference, because I just want to see a player who can add goals, dribbling, ball carrying, all that to that left-sided eight position.
Yeah, see, I don't see Neves at all as someone who's going to play in that left eight space, and I do think Xhaka, we've sort of been fitting a round peg in a square hole. That's the phrase, isn't it? With regards to putting him in that position, um, I think he's done his best to try and adapt, and he has done pretty well at it, but it's not natural for him. And I think Ruben Neves would be kind of similar. I think he's a six. But I don't know if you can play him as a lone six in the way you play Partey. I think he's a really good player, but I'm not sure he can play that role. I don't think he has. Maybe not quite the mobility. I think he's relatively athletic. I don't think he has the press resistance that Thomas Partey has, and the ability to sort of just work a little bit of room when you're being highly pressed under pressure. Um, and I'm not sure. For me, I think he would be. He's a very good player in a double pivot, but I'm not sure you can play him as a lone six. I'm not sure you can play him as a left eight, really, and for what we're really looking for. And I just think so. Daniel said to me on Twitter he thinks we more need of cover in that number 6 role. And I think yes, the downgrade from Partey to potentially El Neni or Lakonga, deliberating who you think should be playing that 6 role. I think it's going to be El Neni as the backup to Partey. It's a huge downgrade. Don't get me wrong. I think we need more in the left 8 position and someone that can also play in the right 8, because we need someone who's gonna, if you think of it as a group of midfielders, someone who can relieve Odegaard a little bit of his creativity and the creative burden
Yeah.
in him. And I think
And if I might just interject, I think as we've spoken about before on the We Love You Arsenal channel, Tielemans can also play in that double pivot. So you don't really. I don't think it's essential that you then bring in El Neni. I think you adjust the whole system a tad and you play more of a 4-2-3-1 in possession. Tielemans on the right and Xhaka on the left. I just think perhaps you're right. Maybe Neves doesn't offer that flexibility, and whilst he's a good player, he may not be perfectly suited to the Arsenal squad, or the Arsenal sort of way of playing under Mikel Arteta. But these links are consistent; they seem to be coming around every summer, and maybe that's just because journalists are relaying the information on which they received last summer. Maybe the links aren't really there quite as prominently this summer. However, I just think Tielemans would be the player who could just add a bit more to the squad as a whole. And whilst I really highly rate Neves, he might not be the perfect fit for Arsenal.
I just think Tielemans could completely unlock either the left-hand side, or if you choose to put Odegaard in the left space and Tielemans on the right. I watched the Arsenal Vision scouting video, and it was brilliant. So I've watched about 40, 50 minutes of Tielemans footage, and what he could do to that left-hand side if we put him in there creatively could completely unlock us. Because I think most people would agree we've been very right-sided bias this season, in the season just gone, and there's much. I think we get a lot more out of Martinelli or Smith Rowe if we bring in that creative player rather than a Granit Xhaka. And also Youri Tielemans, when we're under pressure, he can drop in alongside Thomas Partey, and he's a lot more press resistant and mobile in getting out of those tight spaces under pressure than Granit Xhaka is. Anyway, we'll call it a day there, unless you've got anything just to quickly add.
I was just going to add that I know that we're not quite Manchester City yet. We're sort of a beta version of it, but you don't need a defensive player at all in that left-sided 8 position. It's where Kevin De Bruyne operates for Manchester City. He's not exactly he's not bad defensively, but you wouldn't describe him as sort of a defensive player at all. You can have 2 more attacking minded players who are disciplined. That's the crucial thing.
And it depends on who you're playing and like where you're playing. You can switch it up based on the opposition and stuff. But anyway, I think there's more we can talk about. I want to do a full Tielemans scouting video for the We Love You Arsenal channel, where we go through him as a player. So if you're around for that, eventually we'll record that and we'll discuss some of these things, because I learned a lot more about him from watching the Arsenal scouting video, where the Arsenal Vision scouting video, where they watched about 40, 50 minutes of footage showing his limitations as well.
And if I might add, just before we finish this one off, reportedly Wolves are asking for a crazy price tag for Ruben Neves, and Tielemans could be available for 25 million. So, I think it's obvious who we go for if that's the case.
That is a pivotal thing to add at the end, which we probably should have mentioned earlier, the price tag. I mean, the contractual situation of Tielemans makes that the much more obvious one. Anyway, it's been a pleasure for this second Just Arsenal video. Hope everyone enjoyed. Leave your comments below. I saw there's quite a few positive comments in the last video, so thank you. Anything to add, Rob, before we go?
No. Again, thank you for tuning in, and make sure to watch our content on all the available platforms. Cheers for watching, everyone.
Bye-bye.